Hello and welcome to LNP's The Huddle. I'm Tim Gross, joined by John Walk and Laura Thompson. It's our pre-hurricane edition of The Huddle. Lots of games up in the air. There's weather in the forecast through Thursday. We're going to try to get them all in. We're going to be talking about 3 games tonight. We've got Northern Lebanon at Pequea Valley. We've got Lancaster Catholic at Solanco, and we've got Cocalico at LampeterStrasburg. We'll start with Northern Lebanon at Pequea Valley, which is our game of the week. Who do you like in that one?
And this is a game that, weather might affect because Northern Lebanon comes in putting up a ton of points this year. They really rely on the offense to win the games for them. So the rain might slow them down a little bit. But if they make it through that, I think they'll be just fine. Northern Lebanon comes in at 4-0. They obviously, like I said, they rely on their offense to win. So the question is, can the Pequea Valley defense slow down the Vikings at all? If you would have asked me that a week ago, my answer probably would have been yes, but last Friday, Pequea Valley had its worst defensive performance of the season thus far, gave up 350-plus yards to Elko, so I'm taking Northern Lebanon in this one. How about you, Laura?
Well, before we get to that, I actually have a little something for you, John. I know you will be out
All right.
in the weather this week. I thought a poncho might work well.
This will work.
You're going to need
All right,
that.
and it's orange, so everybody
so
will be able to
lose
see
you
me.
in the lights, or they won't throw the ball at you.
And I'll be able to direct traffic after.
Anyway, as you said, the Vikings are in fact 4-0. And if a team shows you they're 4-0, they're 4-0 for a reason. And for the Vikings, that reason is primarily the line. They've got 5 big, tough, strong guys on the offensive line. Add one more, you've got your defensive line, and they're just as rough and tough. And I think Pequea is really going to have a problem with that. They've shown that their game. I like what Mike Choi is doing. He's instilled a heck of a work ethic in Kinzers. But I think they're going to get to that fourth quarter, and they might not have enough gas to go the whole way against a team as dominant as the Vikings have been. So I am picking them this week.
I'm going to go with Northern Lebanon as well. They're the section champs from last year. They want to make a big statement to open up with wins in their first 2 section games. I think they'll be able to hang on and hold off Pequea Valley. Next one, we got Lancaster Catholic at Solanco. Catholic 0-2 to start the season, rebounded a little bit with 2 big wins in the last 2 weeks. John, you think it'll be enough to overcome the Mules?
I don't know. I was at the Lancaster Catholic game last week. They did slow down the Garden Spot run game. As a matter of fact, they stopped it. But then again, Garden Spot played one of its worst games of the year, and yet Garden Spot still found itself in the game in the fourth quarter. Solanco, I don't think they're going to have as much trouble running the ball. Solanco, a little bit bigger than Garden Spot as well. I think they're probably going to knock around Brian Downey. He's going to be banged up by the end of the night. So I'm taking the Mules in this one.
Well, I kind of have to agree with you there, John. I mean, you've got the Mules, who are just such a hard-nosed team. They've really bought into Tony Cox's system. It's hard to believe they were 2-8 just 2 years ago. And they've turned things around, and they've got the ground and pound going. Noah McCardle scored 5 touchdowns last week, I believe. Is that correct? I think. And I know that Catholic has a great big fan base behind them. They're very serious about what they're doing, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to be enough to overcome Solanco this week.
I agree with you guys. I think Solanco's really good at running the option. I mean, they've got so many weapons in the backfield. Robbie Hassel just pounding up the middle. Noah McCardle, obviously, if he finds space behind the line, he can do a lot of things with it. If they get inside pressure, they can pitch it out to Darren Weary or Troy Miller and really give defenses trouble. I think it's a little too much for Lancaster Catholic to handle. I think Solanco comes up with a win on Friday. Finally, we've got Cocalico at LampeterStrasburg. 2 Section 2 teams who really need this one to kind of keep up in the Section 2 race. LS a little banged up. Cocalico coming off a big win last week against Lebanon. Who do you guys have?
Yeah, and Lampeter-Strasburg, everybody might be pushing the panic button on them, but I'm here to tell you not to worry too much. I know Darren Metz, we just chatted with him yesterday. He's done for the year with a neck injury. Everybody is worried. Well, Colin Bearshank, that's his top target, and Metz is gone for the year, but fortunately, Metz has a twin in Kyle, who's expected to slide into the role there. Plus, I was at the Conestoga Valley game a couple weeks ago, the blowout that Lampeter-Strasburg had there, and I think Darren only had 1 or 2 catches there. So what I'm trying to say is that Colin has proven that he can win outside of, he can rely on other players outside of just Darren. So with Darren out, that's not going to slow him down. If anything, they've probably been fired up since Friday, and they're going to go out there and play for Darren. And I'm taking the Pioneers in this one.
We should also note that this game has been moved to a 5 p.m. start because of the impending lovely weather that we're having outside right now. I agree that that LS really shouldn't be pushing the panic button. They still have plenty of options, but so do the Eagles. In that win over Lebanon last week, they had not one, not two, but 3 guys who ran for over 100 yards. And I think in a game like this, where the weather is going to be an issue and you may not be throwing the ball as much, they're going to be running it. They're going to be turning to Trevor Victorn and Hunter High and Dominic Fabiani. And I think they're going to make life tough for the Pioneers. And I'm actually taking Cocalico for this one.
Laura, I agree with you. I think Cocalico has a lot going for on offense. I think they've kind of maybe hit their stride a little bit against Lebanon. I think LS might be a little bit more equipped to handle the running game and the 3 triple threat backs, but I still think Cocalico's got enough to pull out a win on Friday. So let us know what you think of our picks. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, follow us on Lancaster Online for updates on all the weather situations and the scheduling. And of course, Friday night, whenever the games happen, we'll have plenty of coverage there. So thanks for joining us, and have a good one.